Hi everybody, it's Angelique coming to you live, kind of, sort of, not really. No, I'm coming to you live from my studio in Las Vegas, and we are painting Sisterhood today. Sisterhood! Don't you love this image? It was inspired by, of course, a scene in from the color purple, right? So I got my purple shirt on, and we did this paint party last week. My seat's kind of low. I gotta get up here a little bit. We did this. I hate wearing glasses because the ring light shows in, but I need these glasses, so bear with me on that. I'm trying to get my head in just the right place. But anyway, okay, so I did this paint party just a couple days ago, and it was so much fun. Everybody wore purple. If you haven't seen it, check out my page on Instagram, Paint with Angelique, or Facebook, Paint with Angelique, or under my name, Angelique Daniels. It was just a super fun party, and people have asked me like for the paint kit like immediately. So I'm doing a video. Now, this video is going to be a little different. I'm going to take you about 80-90% through the video. I mean, through the painting process, and then you're going to be alone to do it yourself. But when I say it's different, it's because I've changed my paint kits and stuff a lot. So you're going to have to figure out your own color palette. It's pretty easy if you have all the primary colors and maybe just like a magenta or like a really bright pink. That would be the only adjustment really that you would have to make because it's pretty straightforward in those terms. Now, I usually go through the paint kit. My paint kits have changed a little bit too. But if you have a big brush, a medium brush, and a detail brush, you should be fine. Sponge brush is optional. I think that's about all I wanted to tell you about that. Um, I have switched my paint kit so much that, like I said, I don't want to just confuse you by showing you all the tools. So I did get these off of Amazon. You can find these little pods. I kind of like those. You got to kind of play around with the colors that you like that work well because some of the brands don't work as well as others. So let's get into it. We get into it quick today, okay? Um, Hopefully all of you guys know me. I'm inspired. My name is Angelique. I have been inspired by the late great Miss Annie Lee. She did not teach me how to paint, but she encouraged me to step out on faith and use my gifts and talents. And I quit my job, and I am like the paint party queen of Las Vegas. I'm okay with saying that now. Okay, look at my aprons. They're super cool. You can earn a great apron if you paint with me live 10 times. Well, it doesn't have to be live. I also do virtual parties, and if you buy 10 paint kits, if you just take a picture of 10 of the paintings you've done with me or a video, I'll send you a free apron. How dope is that? Like, who does that? Nobody. That's showing y'all how much I love you, okay? So hopefully, well, in your kit, you're going to have a reference photo. I'm going to be looking at the original painting. So in your kit, you got a reference photo. I don't have one with me right now. But it's a little photo for you to reference so you can get all the colors right. But I always tell people in my videos and at my paint parties, you can paint it any way you want. I painted this similar to the scene in the color purple, but you can paint it any way you want. My videos, it's so funny because my dogs are whining right now, are really like, they're not edited. So anything could happen. Hopefully my dogs don't start barking and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But we'll see what happens, okay? Let's get into it. I used to put a coat of water on the canvases, but I've been told that these canvases that I purchased are pre-treated, so you don't have to do that. You actually don't want to use a lot of water when you're painting with acrylics because it breaks down the paint, okay? So we want the paint to last long. So I'm going to look for a light blue. Actually, I'm going to do the green first because that's the biggest part. I'm going to take my sponge brush, and then I'm going to take, if you're working with my tools, the flat tip medium brush, and I am going to do the bottom part of the painting in Sisterhood, okay? That whole bottom part of the painting. I'm going to play a little nondescript music so my video does not get taken down or copyright infringement on YouTube. It's not like the funnest music, but it just works for me. All right, doing the green. Let's get into it. Taking that detail brush. I always like to outline. It kind of helps me out. And I like to paint in the tight spots with this brush. I'm going to paint right over her hands. That's the trickiest part of this painting. It's going to be her hands. taking a sponge brush for coverage or the biggest brush you have. And I'm painting, actually don't want to go that way. I want to do horizontal brush strokes, not vertical brush strokes. If you don't have this green, take the green that you have and mix a little bit of yellow in it to make it bright. So take your yellow paint, more yellow than blue if you're making your green. But if you already have a green, just add yellow to it to make it brighter. You can do it right on the canvas, or you can do it in a mixing tray. So I got my green done. I got that green done. I'm going to add a tiny bit to water to my brush, and I'm going to even out that green because it's a little splotchy, and I just want it to be a little bit more even. If you're using a sponge brush, you can add a little tiny bit of water and a little bit of pressure. Now these are acrylic paints. Of course, they become more opaque as you apply layers. So you might want to let it dry and apply another layer if you're not okay with that level of green, okay? Next thing I'm going to do is blue. Wipe your brush off first, then swish it around in the water. That'll save the quality of your water, okay? So I'm going to I'm going to get most of the green off. Then I'm going to wipe my paintbrush off. I'm going to swish it around in my water. I'm going to go into my light blue paint, and I'm going to paint the sky. Again, I'm using that flat tip blue handle brush if you have my paint kit. I'm going to outline it first, getting into the tight spots like around her ponytail there. And I have a big canvas. I have a 16 by 20 canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another sponge brush, but if you don't have another sponge brush, it's hard to rinse out those sponge brushes and use them again. You can try to do that, or you can just use the second biggest brush you have, or this brush right here. My paint kit's, the canvas you have is probably 11 by 14, so it won't take you that long if you use this brush. But I am going to use a sponge brush if I have it. I thought I had it. I really was hoping I had it. Maybe I don't have it. Gosh darn it. I don't. So I'm going to have to use, oh, I do. Look, girl, y'all, I call it organized chaos. I knew I had it. Okay, so I'm going to paint in my blue, play a little music for you. Water. Oh, I got some dripping, and that's okay. I have to add a little water because this paint, the lid was off of it, so it's kind of sticky. But if you're ever to get a good flow without using water, do that. Oh man, I'm putting too much water and I'm getting drippies. And I'm okay with that because I'm just going to take my paper towel and I'm just going to dab it off there. That's another reason why you shouldn't use too much water. I'm also using water because I want my sky to be a little lighter, so I'm kind of making my acrylic paint into watercolor paint because I'm really breaking it down to be lighter. If you wanted your sky to be a little bit lighter, of course you could just add a little bit of white paint right on the canvas, or you could mix a lighter blue in your mixing tray. Alright, so again, if you're not happy with the level of blue that you're getting, you can apply a whole nother coat. Also paint the sides of your canvas. That's called wrapping your canvas, so you don't need a frame. So don't want to forget that. Alright, so moving on. We're going to paint the dresses. I'm going to paint her dress blue. I'm going to make myself a little light blue, or if you happen to have light blue, actually I do, I'm going to use that same blue paint. Or if you have a dark blue, which I have that too, I think I'm going to use dark blue and then make a light blue with white paint for the dress. So I'm going into my dark blue, okay? We're going to do dark blue. We're going to outline her dress. And I'm going kind of fast, but this is a video, y'all. You can put me on pause. Outlining her dress. I'm going to do her belt. I'm outlining her dress. And that fun little flow that she's got going on her dress is done by just doing some lines just like that. I'm going to make myself some light blue. And then I'm going to go right on top of those lines. How cool is that when you do that? Light blue or white paint, and I'm just going right over those lines. And since I'm working with white paint right now, I'm going to kind of freehand my belt. I'm going to do a little circle right there, and I'm going to do a couple squiggly lines, and I just made her belt. It's not exact, but I'm okay with it. Still working on her dress a little bit all the way down. Gonna let a light blue in her dress. Gonna drag that blue. Again, I'll take you about 80 or 90% through the painting, and then we're actually just like coloring. It's like coloring, but with a paintbrush, right? We're not doing any like crazy designs or any crazy techniques on this. That's why I think my paint parties are so fun. I'm gonna try to tilt the light a little bit so you can get a better look. Maybe I'll do that later. Or maybe if I can just lift this up. The light's like reflecting on it pretty good. I just wanted you to get a better look at it. I'm going to go on to the yellow dress. Now the yellow dress is outlined in brown. So where's my brown paint? Taking my brown paint. Going to paint her belt. It's a dark brown. Gonna paint her dress, outline it. I'm gonna wipe my brush off. I'm gonna go into yellow. Oops, I forgot there's a little brown in her hat too. In Nettie's hat. We got Nettie and Silly here, right? Now I still got a little brown on my brush, and I like that because I'm going to use that brown and I'm going to drag it through her dress. I'm going into my yellow with the brown on my paintbrush, and I'm going to drag it through her dress. And I'm going to drag it here, and I'm going to drag it here, and I'm going to drag it in her hat. It's kind of like a dirty kind of a yellow. Not really beige though. Got brown on my paintbrush. Then I'm going to go into my white paint, which you might want to scoop a little bit of white into your tray so you don't get your white all dirty, because we got to do clouds and all kinds of fun stuff. A little bit of white in my tray. Going into my white paint. Dragging it through, dragging it through. Going back into my yellow. Take a look at your reference picture and see how much yellow you want to put in there, how much white or how much brown. I'm dragging the brown into the yellow from the outlining that I did. I got too much white, so I'm going back into my yellow. Adding more yellow. So you just kind of have fun with it. Alright, wiping off my paintbrush. Looking at their dresses, seeing if I'm happy with it. I see that I missed their, want to finish her belt a little bit there. I'm going to put white paint. Oh, no, I'm not, because it's brown. If it was light, I would have put white. If I wanted the color to pop, I'd put white down first. But her brown belt, I'm just going to freehand with my paintbrush. I'm going to paint a circle, and then I'm going to do a little squiggly line for her belt. Okay? Now I'm going quick. It's a journey, not a race. I'm just trying to give you the basic outline on how to paint this, okay? It takes a while. This is nowhere near what your painting will look like. Look at how cool mine is. The finished painting. It takes about 2 hours. We're only about 18 minutes into this, okay? I'm doing her hat red because that's how it was when I looked at the movie. But I think I wanted to paint it blue. But I'm going to paint it red because that's what color it was in the movie. And I'll put a little black stripe on there after the red has dried. Then there is the black in the hands. I'm going to save that for last. I'm going to save the black for last, okay? I'm going to work on the little skyline there. And if you look at your reference photo, it's a little purple and a little magenta. I'm just going to lightly tip my brush along the horizon line. And if you have a fine tip, brush. You can use that if you have like a detail brush. I have, I'm going to continue to use that flat tip brush. I'm going to wipe it off a little bit. I'm going to rinse it off in my water. And I'm going to lightly tap a little bit of purple. I think I'm going to mix it with white because I want it to be like a lavender. So I'm going to mix a little white and purple in my mixing tray. I'm going to tap it along the line there for lavender. And then I'm going to mix a little white with my magenta, or you can mix it with red to make a pink, a light pink. I want a light pink. So I'm taking my, you can use red and white or your magenta and white and make a light pink. And we're going to tap that also. I don't see much contrast in that, so I'm going to put a darker purple on there, magenta on there. So that's how you make that horizon line look like there's a few little flowers in the background, okay? Now, how about those flowers at the bottom? I'm just going to show you how to make a couple of these flowers. My flowers are always like a little dot with brush strokes around it. So the flowers in their hat, I'm going to use my detail brush. Flower in the hat, purple dot in the middle. And then purple dot in the middle over here. And then there's just white brush strokes around it. But because I have purple on my brush, I want to show you how to make a purple flower. I'm just going to show you how to make one of the flowers down here, okay? So I'm just going to, is there any with purple in the middle? Yeah. So I'm going to put purple in the middle. Now the difference between this flower and this flower, I love putting flowers on my paintings. It's kind of like my signature thing. I try to put flowers on stuff. So what I'm wiping off my brush because I'm going to go into my white paint. With the flowers in the hats, purple dot, detail brush, lots of paint on it. Just a line, a line, a line from the out coming in, or from the middle, from the circle coming out. That white, I do not like that white paint. I'm going to use a different white paint so you can see it better. I like these paints that I'm working with, but something about the white paint is just too, it's not opaque enough. All right, so you're going to be able to really see it now. Okay, here we go, here we go, there we go. That's a good flower for you to see. Another one, just starting from the circle going out. They're just lines. Those are flowers that are just lines coming out. You can see that one better because of my ring light. All right, but the ones at the bottom, I'm like putting circles around circles. That's the best way I can describe it. But if you really want to get fancy, if you look at your reference photo, they're actually flatter on the outer side. So I'm just going to draw a line on the outer part of it, okay? And look, you got a flower. But guess what? You got to do a lot of flowers at the bottom. So I'm not going to show you how to make all those flowers because you're just going to take your time and do those flowers. But I would recommend, maybe you could sketch out where you want to place them, or you could just have fun like what I did when I was painting the painting, and I just put a lot of circles, and then I built my flowers around the circles. So there's some pink and then there's some purple circles. So just kind of do that and then build your flowers up, okay? The next thing I want to do is the black paint. So I'm going to wipe this detail brush off. And I'm going to use the tiniest brush, the detail brush that you have, to do the hands, okay? Looking for my black paint here. I'm going to start with the hands. You might have to take the canvas. Let me cut this music a little bit. You might have to take the canvas and actually lay it down flat and really work on the hands. Take your reference photo. Really look at those hands. Take that detail brush, go over those lines that are provided for you, and connect the lines together and fill in the hand. Really going to have to look at your reference photo to get this part right. It's a little tricky, okay? It is a little tricky. So work on your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure she only has 5 fingers, so you're getting that right, okay? Fill in the hands, and then you're going to paint in her arms. And I am not going to tediously do her fingers. I'm just going to paint in her arms real quick. And I'm going to finish her up. And I'm going to leave you alone to do the rest. I'm leaving a little gap in between the arms so you can tell like there are 2 arms. If you mess up and don't leave the gap, just wait for it to dry, and then you can paint in the white in between the arms. You can even use green around the hands to kind of fill in the hands properly. There are no mistakes. Like if you really don't get the hands right, just wait for it to dry, put white paint over the hands, let that dry, take a pencil and pencil them in, then go over them in black, okay? So her face, I'm just going to paint her whole face in white. Black. And I'm going to wait for it to dry, and then I'm going to fill in her bangs, and I'm going to work on her ponytail. So I'm filling in the black. Now, we're always painting with acrylic paint, so there is a method to the madness. I have to wait for this to dry before I put the white on there, because it's going to look gray, right? So there is a method to the madness. And then I'm going to put black on top of her hat because we did that red a long time ago. So it's dry now. Okay? So this painting is nowhere near done. It takes a lot to pull a painting together, but I've given you the basic outline to complete the painting. I've given you the proper order in which to lay the paint down. And we always just get all the paint down first, and then we work on the details. So let's get all the paint down first, and that's what I'm doing right now. And then you work on the details. You look at each part of the painting and decide what you need to do using your reference photo, right, to bring it to life. I do not want to rush through these hands, so I'm kind of like hesitant to even work on the hands because painting sideways like this is kind of hard to do, and I don't want to screw the hands up. So I'm just going over the lines. I'm not really even trying to get them right for you, okay? It takes a lot of time, so make sure you focus on the hands. Acrylic paint dries pretty fast, so I want that to dry before I put the outlines on. Now, I've done this video in about 30 minutes. It takes about 2 hours, even longer. I worked on those little flowers for a long time at the bottom of my painting, and I really enjoyed it. Get yourself some tea or a glass of wine and just have fun practicing and working on the flowers. I'm going to do the clouds in the sky. You can take your the detail brush, or you can take the flat brush and just kind of tap your brush to make clouds. See, I do not like this white paint. Maybe I need to mix it up. Maybe that'll be better. Maybe that's the key. You know what? I just thought of that. Okay? Just going to tap. This is my good white paint. That's a cloud. Just tap your brush and make a cloud. Tap your brush and make a cloud. tap your brush and make a cloud. Just tap, 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 tap. I think that's kind of fun. Where else do I need white? Okay, so now I'm going to use the white. Hopefully it's dry. I can put her bangs in here. It's not quite dry. But I kind of wanted to just do her face a little bit. So wait till her face is dry before you do that. The details. So you just look at each part of the painting and you put in the details now that we have all the colors, the paints down there, right? You don't want any gaps either. Like that little gap right there, you need to close the gap. You don't want any white space between everything. So you take a look at each component of the painting, and I realized I didn't do her neck there. And put all the details in. And most importantly, don't forget to sign and date your painting because it is your masterpiece. All right? So I'm trying to make shorter videos. I'm trying to keep my tutorials like 30 minutes. So if I'm going too fast, remember, it's a video. Pause it. I recommend in the future watching the videos all the way through, then going back and doing the painting. I used to do that, and it was very helpful for me. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you like it, share it, leave me a comment. Paint with me in Las Vegas if you're ever here. Paint with me 10 times if you paint with 10 of these YouTube tutorials. Let me know. Yeah, you got to follow me on Facebook and follow me on Instagram. And I hope you enjoyed painting Sisterhood with me. Remember, it's a journey, not a race. So you still need it. You got a good couple hours still, at least an hour and a half to work on that painting. But paint kits available. Email me, comment here. The paint kits are $39 shipped, $29 locally. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye, buddy.